Yeah, so much for that Georgia versus Oregon game that college football was pushing down our throats, huh? They really tried to sell that game like it was going to be a close 11 seeded team heading up against the defending national champions. But honestly, I knew how that game was going to go as soon as I saw who was standing behind center for the Ducks. I mean, there's a reason why Bo Nix left Auburn after 3 years. It's because the dude was trying to dodge that crazy stacked SEC conference and go against all the crappy ass teams that play in the Pac-12. I mean, the only comp schools Oregon plays in conference are like USC and UCLA, if we're being honest. But the college football schedule makers screwed over Bo Nix with this one by literally giving him and Oregon the hardest team possible for week one. Now, I know that it sounds like I'm mostly blaming poor QB play for the reason why this game was so lopsided, but I do think we should give some praise to that crazy ass Georgia defense, because damn did they ball out. Going ahead and getting 2 interceptions before halftime, and holding Oregon to only 3 points the entire game. I mean, this is great news, because the only thing these sports shows seem to be talking about concerning Georgia since the Natty is how they've lost 8 defensive starters to the NFL draft, with 5 of them being first-round talent. Well, hell, the number 1 pick was defensive end Georgia Bulldog Trayvon Walker. Plus, players like defensive tackles Jordan Davis and Devontae Wyatt, linebacker Quay Walker, and safety Lewis Klein are also gone. So that kind of hurts. But with guys like Jalen Carter, Kilo Ringo, and Christopher Smith still on the squad, this Georgia D is going to be just fine. You know what? Let's take a quick look at the schedule for the Bulldogs this season to see how hard it'll be for them to run it back. Oh wow. Yeah, these guys are going back to the college football playoffs easily. Bro's playing teams like Samford and Kent State. Like, what the fuck is this? And why do the schedule makers have Georgia out here playing versus baseball schools like Vandy and Tennessee? Ranking-wise, the Ducks were supposed to be the hardest comp that Georgia plays, but both those boys dead-ass lost 49-3. Whatever. I'm just going to go game by game and decide whether or not I think Georgia will win or lose. But before we do that, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Sorry, don't know if you heard, but I said subscribe. Thank you. Let's get back to it. I'm going to start off with their matchup versus Samford, which is week 2, who's a low Division 1 if we're being honest. I mean, they're in the Southern Conference for Christ's sake. Heck, Samford hasn't even had a player drafted to the NFL since 2016, when James Bradbury went to Carolina. So I think it's pretty easy to say that Georgia is going to kick the year off 2-0. Then in week 3, the Bulldogs match up against South Carolina, who as of now is 1-0 after pounding Georgia State. And a big contributor to the victory was South Carolina's special teams, as they were able to get not 1, but 2 blocked punts for a return touchdown. With that said, QB play wasn't great for South Carolina, as Spencer Rattler would throw 2 picks versus a not-so-great defense, which is why Georgia's probably going 3-0. Their 4th game is against Kent State Golden Flashes. Yes, that's their name. Whose first game didn't go too well, as Michael Penix Jr. from Washington would torch Kent State as he'd throw for 4 touchdowns and 300 plus yards. So if Kent State can't handle Washington, then they're going to be smoked by Georgia, making Georgia go 4-0 to start off the year. But in week 5, the Bulldogs would head a little northwest, all the way up to Missouri. And let me tell you, Missouri had a great running day versus Louisiana Tech in week 1, as the Tigers would rush for 300 plus yards and 5 touchdowns. Plus, Missouri's defense would step up week 1 by managing to snag 3 interceptions and 4 sacks. But with all of that said, I just don't believe that the Tigers' pass game is strong enough to handle that Georgia D. So in the end, I do think Georgia will go 5-0. Anyway, Let me save you some time here with the final 7 games of the season and sum up a few of the guaranteed wins left on the schedule, which are weeks 7, 10, 11, and 13 matchups, where I do think that Georgia easily beats Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Mississippi State, and Georgia Tech. And if you think I'm wrong, well, too bad. You're just going to have to deal with it. Guaranteeing Georgia 9 wins at this point, with the only close games I see being Auburn, Florida, and Kentucky. But let's be honest, 2 of those are a stretch. Let's start with October 8th, where Georgia plays Auburn. And honestly, even though Auburn won their Week 1 match versus Mercer in a 42-16 blowout, it wasn't that impressive, because a win like that versus a team like that is to be expected from Auburn. But what gave me hope that Auburn stands a chance versus Georgia is the fact that Auburn was able to make something out of almost every opportunity by nearly scoring on almost all the drives. Though if I'm being honest with myself, I might as well just speed this up and mark it down as the 10th win for Georgia and move on to the 2 more exciting matchups. So next, I really want to talk about with that Week 9 game where Georgia somehow manages to head down south and play the Florida Gators. And god damn, I might be riding that Gator bandwagon after they've upset the 7th ranked Utah team in Week 1. But that game was hype. Their ability to stay in the game after fumbling on the first drive, which would lead to a Utah touchdown, has to be something to praise. And this is in major thanks to the dual threat ability that Anthony Richardson has under center, as not only did the QB pop off in the passing game, having a completion percentage of 70%, but Richardson also led the team on the ground, having the most rushing yards on the team with 106 and 3 rushing TDs. Yes, 3. Though I think Florida only plays crazy versus Georgia if they have something to compete for that late into the season, you know? With that being said, let's mark this down as another win. And now it's time to talk about the match that everyone's been waiting for. That's right, Georgia versus Kentucky, November 19th. These 2 teams did play each other last year during October, where Georgia manhandled Kentucky 13-30. But hopefully this time will be different, because I'm tired of seeing the same damn teams in the college football playoffs. I mean, Will Lewis out of Kentucky looked really nice Week 1 versus Miami Redhawks. And wideout Tavion Robinson was great, catching 6 receptions for 136 yards. But if Kentucky's defense doesn't come to play, then Georgia is definitely winning, because Stetson Bennett can fucking ball. I would choose him over JT Daniels in a heartbeat. No offense to Big Dog, but I see why you transferred. Anyway, do I think Georgia can win back-to-back natties? Probably not. But they will 100% be in the college football playoffs, that's for sure. Definitely will have a chance. Anyway, that's all. Deuces. Trey Lance coming soon, maybe. Bye.